Hello, everybody. Welcome to Speedy for match number 3 between Edgeworth and Tyerenex. If there's one thing this bracket has proven so far, it's how close the competition is among these runners and how tight we can. In the first round, we saw Tyerenex taking it down. We saw Edgeworth fire back in round 2. They're evened up. Tonight, the deciding battle for who advances between Edgeworth and Tyerenex. I'm Trenton, joined tonight by Cyclone. How are you?
Doing all right tonight. I saw some of that match yesterday. That was a pretty good race yesterday, and as you said, very good matchup between these two. Looking forward to see which way it goes today. Who ends up advancing in the to the next round here? Did we lose you?
Had to go let him loose in the SRL room, so I needed my keyboard for a moment. So the seed has forced a red mage. Fighter is forced for the round. Black mage is banned for the round.
And just bringing that back up so I can
both
see
went
that.
with triple mage. Both went with triple mage. Edge brings a white.
Yeah, Triple Mage is a very, very interesting setup. It's going to be interesting to see if Tyerenex finds spells he likes at level 1 and decides that maybe he wants to have Black Mage or White Mage to choose whether to reset that. But actually, he can't have a Black Mage, never mind, so he'd have only the White Mage in that case. So there could be a case where someone doesn't like the spells or resets to get a different loadout later on. We'll see if both runners decide to stick with these parties.
Cure 4 comes out at level 1, and Tyerenex says he wants a White Mage, I think.
As I kind of just quickly predicted there, he is deciding the White Mage is a good idea. He found something he liked. So meanwhile, in the Black Magic, we have Zap, Ice, Saber, and Dark in no particular order.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be picking up Ice. Zap is going to have to do our early game work.
Yep, Zap will have to do
Saber is kind of a desperation spell.
And the White Magic, we have Cure, A-Rub, Cure 4. That's why he wanted the White Mage. Cure 4 is in slot number 4, so that is only for the White Mage.
Very cheap pro rings of it, or at least reasonably priced at only 4K.
So as we're taking our first battle of the day, the Imps, which usually aren't very threatening, unless they come up with something odd, or they hit very well like they did in that case. And he resets out of that and just takes the walk over Temple of Beans.
You know, I'm a fan of taking a couple Imps fights, getting in the very early stretch before over. When you're having your roll spells, that to me really raises the premium on a couple extra levels, a couple extra spell charges.
So we're already finding some magic being used on the zombies here to good effect. Zap was used to finish off the last one. And the characters are up 1 level to level 2, so now Edgeworth has his first level gain. Items up here, 3,100 gold, a ribbon. We already have a first ribbon.
That treasure room, a good pile, one of the best defensive items in the game. Great to have an early ribbon. Unfortunate to have Stone Touch creeps just messing with us.
So Edgeworth is, I thought was going back to take Garland. He must have wiped because he's heading back towards the upper left room.
Yeah, Stone Touch creeps did him in.
Oh my. Damage kill. Nice.
Let's see if Tyerenex, does he get Zap? Neither of them took my advice on the extra level, but Edge was able to get a good encounter pattern there, save it before Garland, and now relying on Zap to do its job, it does. What are we going to get for reward?
We'll find out as soon as we get back to the castle. The king gives us the key. That opens up the Corneria treasury immediately. And that's our second ribbon.
You know, you're never going to argue with too early ribbon. Key is the best early item you can pick. The equipment sources you're likely to pick up from these treasure chests. It's hard to get the key and not get a bunch of money, some kind of weapon, etc.
I was about to say, why don't we have our third ribbon back here, but looks like we got our first drop item in the chest. The herb is back there today, so that will help, assuming that the Elfland Castle's caretaker is at home today, or maybe he's on vacation.
6 on a key lock, and we've already got a good weapon, a good shield, some defense with that bracelet, so a very, very good setup there. Okay, he's just short of having enough money for a pro ring, but we got ribbons for now, so he's gonna be okay with that.
So I imagine both runners will make the trek over to the Provoke area, see what is located there, and maybe up to Matoya's to check the chests up there. They may not hurry on Matoya's now that we found our first drop item. We will find out what they decide to do here. As Tyerenex gives the silver bracelet to C, we do see he's renamed the members A, B, C, and D in the hurried renaming there.
Well, Matoya is not going to objective NPC flags, so that and in right there could easily be the dramatic. Like you're gonna go see what treasures you might be able to obtain as. For they not be aware, the gold chaos that you see here represents their wins in the series, so each of them have one win, and which is a fantastic companion to that flame shield. Edge, the herb. Could be one he regrets in a minute.
So Tyerenex is heading over to the Dwarf Cave, so we're going to get to see what those 2 chests and the 9 chests in the bottom, since we can head down there right away if we want to. We're going to find what all 11 chests in the Dwarf Cave have in them today. Hooray!
He just saw the...
I'm sorry?
Go back to... Just saw the herb in his inventory to Matoya, so either he didn't... Gonna check it after Provoca. Chat is having fun with the Grey Imps. Kind of defense from the Rivers here. That's fun and is free. So's the act.
So Edgeworth has gone over to where I believe that was the Provoke area, and he's found Elfland over there. Looking at the level 4 magic right now, it's the heal 4, a ice, fear, and life over there. Life will be good for the white mage in the party. We have hold in the level 4 spot for black magic, the 4th slot for the black magic.
Alright, we'll try this for a little bit better setup on the mic, hopefully.
Sounds better so far.
Alright, so we saw Oxia, we saw defense, the equipment's just been free in this seed. Now we throw exit and harm 4 in level 3 white magic. This is just a fun seed for these runners so far.
Looks like we just had the runners synced up a little bit there. I'm not sure why the timers are a minute apart. That's really interesting. So Edgeworth is now heading away from the Provoca area, or as we know it today, Elfland. And he's probably going to make his way over to Dwarf Cave himself right now, where Tyerenex just was.
Use the herb, Edge. You're forgetting the herb.
Meanwhile, for Tyerenex, it's all ogre. And the ogre goes down, so he's going to check out the 3 chests and key-locked portion of, well, I'm going to call it Astro's Closet right now. A lot of money, a black shirt, that's a great find, and a little more money.
Keeps on giving for these runners.
And there's one of the absolutely nasty creeps. For those joining us late, the creeps do today have Death Touch, so we definitely don't want them touching us.
Stone Touch, but same net effect.
Oh, Stone Touch? Sorry, I thought it was Death Touch. My mistake. So we're gonna see if
for whatever reason we don't.
We're gonna see if the caretaker. Oh, Bahamut is in the castle.
There, we don't tend to see the touch attacks as frequently with Script Shuffle on as we do without it. But Death Touch, Stone Touch are a very real thing.
So I want to touch on the fact that Bahamut is hiding in the castle right now. Doctors on Vacation is in full go right now because 3 possible NPCs in the game who are affected by that are potentially shuffled around. The Elfland Caretaker is one of those, and he is not home. He is either in the Cardia Island where Bahamut comes from, or he's over in Melman, which is where I think it's Dr. Un resides. So those are the 3 who are shuffled, and he is in one of those 2 locations. If you want to wake up the prince, you're finding him in one of those 2 locations.
Another big change, as we have found Crescent Lake at Elfland, is you are not able to get the Sage item until you have taken down Lich, which we do not have access to Lich yet. And my question is, are they going to Marsh Cave seriously before turning in the herb? I can't believe either one of them has made that play yet.
Well, neither of them can turn in the herb. Again, the caretaker isn't home, so they can't give it to the guy to wake the prince. So they have to go to Marsh Cave. I
had it back. We get it from Matoya, not give it to him. Silly me.
Yeah,
I apologize.
I was wondering where that was coming from. I'm thinking, what do you mean use the herb? They can't use it. So yeah, they pretty much have to go to Marsh Cave to look for their progression right now.
Yeah, and it's either going to have or something that leads to them. With the key, we have access to key-locked chests here, one of which is incentivized. So that is the likely destination for our progression.
So Edgeworth is now going to get his black shirt out of Asso's closet right now. We have a crawl among some bones in Marsh Cave. Now the creep was rather nasty. The crawl we may not get a chance to see because the black shirt's just going to wipe it out. There you go.
Now, having a caster item for early Marsh Gastic, because it's almost always going to be enough to kill most of the enemies.
Mm-hmm. And for Edgeworth, it's all over. 2 of them to be exact, and one got knocked out by a black shirt immediately. The 2 fighters had nothing to hit in their attempts, and the fighter knocked out the other one.
Seems to have an exit at this point as he's making ground in the Marsh Cave while Edge is just getting over to the Elfland area.
He just made the discovery that Bahamut is in the caretaker's position, and I was like, look, next. Oh, get out of the way.
Some of them aren't so crazy about warriors trying to save the world coming in and just taking their treasure like it's nothing.
Hey, he has a key for a reason. Let him in. So
Tyerenex money now for a bunch of cabins.
Tyerenex is going to walk out whatever he found in the top section. I did see a pure potion up there, but not really much else of interest that I saw anyway.
I think that was mostly to save the levels, but there was also a small pile of gold.
Yeah, those gold usually is what you find up there. So now Tyerenex is waiting for that bat to move. It finally did. He's going to continue through the room. Now we have to note that there is a chest that normally in the vanilla game holds the crown. And in many of our flags, that is an incentivized chest. So there can be some other kind of important item in that chest. Today, as we find Heal, Fog 2, and some other things in White Magic, and Lit fast at level 6, or at level 6, 4th spot, Black Mage only. That will be That will hurt. That will hurt a lot. Anyway, the incentivized chest I was getting at is not going to be an important item today. Or it may not be. It could still be one of the random drop items, but it is going to be just any random item today. It could just have 2 gold in it for all we know.
So far, we haven't seen much in the Marsh Cave, and Blackshirt has just been taking care of business, so Tyerenex has had a pretty easy time with it. I cannot imagine that Edgeworth is going to skip the north section, as that's what bit him in a big way in the first match when he missed the loose slab up here.
Yep. He's heading right up there, just as you said. Meanwhile, Tyerenex runs away from some werewolves. He is going to make his way through the various chests that are down here. Most likely there is something that is a drop item down here. That seems the most logical, because we don't have a ship or a canoe right now, I don't think.
Ship or canoe are going to be the 2 necessary things for any type of progression, or it can be a fetch quest that leads to it, such as the crystal, the crown.
It could be. So I'm starting to think the crown could be down here somewhere, or I prefer the crystal, personally, make him walk all the way back there. So there's 440 gold, there's a silver gauntlet. So that's 2 things or silver knife rather, sorry. So that's 2 items that are not the progression. We're going to keep looking. I think we're coming up to the normal crown chest right now. So again, this is a random item today. The wizards still guard that tile. So you still have to get through, in this case, 4 of them. Could be 2 or 4 of them.
Edge has seen Ice 2 come out from these ghouls a couple of times now. Tyerenex didn't see that earlier.
And he decided he's had enough of trying to walk up stuff upstairs. He's going to just try and go downstairs. So the key chest down there is 3142. The second key chest is going to be this one. This is guarded by a trap tile. There's some cobras there. And that's a large knife. So the other Mystic Key chest is on the far lower right corner. That is going to be an incentivized item. Not where the crown normally would be, but in the lower right corner instead today. So we're going to get to see what that incentive item is. That is most likely our progression at this point.
Yeah, the only other possibility would be something loose in a chest here in Marsh we haven't gotten to yet. I can chance as well of something loose revisited, but boy, that would be crazy.
Yeah.
Chat did ask about locations. Of course, we've been dealing with this one since that's the one we're coming up on. Once they leave here, the chest where you would normally get the floater in the regular game, it's a fetch quest item. In the Ice Cave will be incentivized, and then the chest in Castle Ordeal will be incentivized, as far as all the non-NPC locations go.
Okay, so let's go to the Dwarf Cave. We're going to get a crystal. We're going to have to Matoya. We're going to get... What else is a fetch quest we can do right now? The crown to go back... Or no, let's do the crown, then the crystal, then finally get the ship.
The crown, we could turn into the crown, but...
Yep.
It's hard. It's kind of interesting when the seed gives you 2 of the items that early. Considering the number in the pool that you don't need, you could almost gamble go mode from here as far as non-incentive stuff goes. Now, you'd want equipment, so you're still going to check stuff, but like you could skip the hairpin Kano, anything that's particularly out of the way like.
You'd like to find Mazamune, Vorpal, anything like that to help with the endgame, so I don't see them wanting to forego chests and gamble go mode. Not this early anyway. They will do it later on, I'm sure, when they have at least enough to work with, but this early I don't see them gambling go mode.
Next is about to get over to that TNT.
No, Edgeworth already has. Tyerenex already has it. Edgeworth is getting there. Yeah. So Tyerenex was putting that black shirt to good use. I think I saw him hitting level 7 at last check. So he's gonna get outside, get a save in, gonna save those levels, and continue from there.
Had a little bit better RNG through here, not seeing the Ice 2 that Edgeworth did, but also Tyerenex was at a higher level, so he had better stats and whatnot to deal with that than Edge did.
Well, I just thought of one more step in the chain we can add, the Adamant. Let's force him to
Lazy
leave.
dwarfs are a thing.
Let's force him to leave Dwarf Cave and then come back with the Adamant as part of the chain. That would be nice. Oh no, just go straight to the ship. Never mind, forget the chain.
Tyerenex is now the first runner able to sail the high seas, as is the theme of this tournament. A lot of the world has been opened up with docks, a little world map changes, so you're able to explore, and it is theoretically possible to complete one of these without need of the floater at all.
Now, with that said, though, there are still a couple locations that you have to have the ship to get to, so I meant to note that you said theoretically. This assumes that the Gaia location doesn't have something that we need, or that the Lufane location doesn't have something we need. Additionally, there is still a port in the Onrak location that you still need the canoe to cross over to Onrak itself. So you can't actually get to Onrak with unless you have the canoe. Even with the floater, you can't get over there.
Canoe is very required, period, but
Indeed.
you are... But I did say theoretically, and it is a question of having no need for what's in those two cities, because they're the only two things that are currently blocked by the airship completely.
Exactly.
Although, also worthy of note, because we have the objective NPC shuffle on, Bahamut's Cave becomes important as well. We have to be able to not need that to not need the airship.
And Bahamut's Cave obviously is the Cardi Islands on one of those islands. So we know the doctors are on vacation. We know that the Elfland NPC could potentially be there, or in Melman. So if either of those, if the Melman is blocked by the airship, then at a minimum we will need the airship to get to that doctor to wake up the prince for whatever he has.
Lit 3 and Quad X is some pretty good level 3 magic. Magic hasn't been great yet, but we got a lot of serviceable stuff.
So Edgeworth enters Crescent Lake. Kind of interesting that the first two towns we've seen have been bumped up by 1 on the scale. Provoca was Elfland, Elfland was Crescent Lake. What would you say to Crescent Lake being Provoca?
Life at level 4, so the white mage is paying some Bane at level 4, so the right is the lit at level 3. That's hurting a little bit.
So Edgeworth is heading back up towards the Dwarf Cave right now. He's going to be getting his ship from the Good Dwarf in the lower section of the cave. Tyerenex is back to sailing the high seas after his stop at Provoca. And he's run into the Sahags, which are always unrunnable in this game. We have to deal with them, because they're the other half of the pirates, I believe, is what they're tied to. Edgeworth leaving the Dwarf Cave with his ship, and he's going to go sailing. Oh, Tyerenex is going over Matoya's cave right now. So Matoya is going to be on the agenda right now. Edgeworth is actually going to diverge from what Tyerenex has been doing. He's going to head over to see what's at the Melman location. So are we going to have Vanilla Melman? Nope, we're going to have Lufane. Lupa! And the Sahegs, by the way, I don't know if you noted that they have frost today. Not that dangerous, but still, it adds up if they get a lot of them and they get an ambush. And I think Edgeworth is making his way around to the Crescent Lake location right now, from what I can tell, from what path he's been taking. Tyerenex is back to fighting ogres. And yep, there's the dock for Crescent Lake, or at least one of the two, since the one that we can use without needing the canoe. So he's going to make the long walk from this dock over to whatever's a Crescent Lake, and we still have a few town options here. We still have Melmoth, we still have Gaia, we still have Onrak, we still have Provoca. They're all still in the pool. I believe that's it. Tyerenex find the ice armor. That is some really good armor to have, but he may, if he needs the funds for something, he may choose to sell it. It's also worth a good lot of money. But I could see him. No, he actually reset out without it. I think he didn't keep it.
All right, hopefully I'm back and better than ever.
You sound good right now.
We'll take it. And what do we have here? That seems to be Und.
That's the vanilla Und. So Melmoth is over at Crescent Lake.
That also means Floater's going to be required to be able to get the Elfland item.
Indeed, it absolutely is. We're already having people in chat looking for Warmech, which is a little bit early. Save that for when we get to the Sky Palace. There's the Sahegs with Frost, and that is a good group of them. That can hurt. He got away, but one of the warriors is dead. He decided to just reset.
Melman turns out to be Lefane. That's kind of a push, really.
Yep, we saw that a moment ago with Edgeworth. He checked that out first before going to Crescent Lake. And Tyerenex is now going to find the Crescent Lake, which is found to be Melman.
No canoe yet. Trying to figure what we have access to, but really all I can think of is Earth Cave.
We can't even finish Earth Cave, so I'm trying to think what else we have too. We can get to the vendor item in... I think there's a dock that will let us get to the vendor item in the Onrak area, is there not?
No, canoe is required for that. You can get into Onrak, which could be Provoca, and that would really be the only other source of progress right now.
Ah, got it. So, yeah, we're running fast out of locations here. Like you said, I'm starting... Actually, I think he is checking the Onrak area. He wants to make sure there's no vendor item or something in Onrak. And by the way, Tyerenex is showing the Zozo Melmoth flag. He was just walking on the desert tile, and that turns on the ability to run into images, wraiths, and geists. And I think maybe a couple other items in here too. So this could be a good preview of the Ice Cave, because some of these enemies do appear in the Ice Cave.
Turns out we do have Provoca. What do we have for level 2 Black Magic? Lit 2 and Temper. This is not a good magic seed.
Yeah, Stop and Stun are the only other options there, and Stun is the the 4th slot anyway for Black Magic, so that's not... Stun, not really that big anyway, but the magic overall for that is pretty bad.
This is the magic seed that makes you wish you had brought Double Fighter instead.
Yeah.
With that, I think it was level 1 saber, it does give some options for the red mage. Particularly, you put something like Vorpal on him, and you can stack a lot of sabers and still do good damage, but he's going to need a lot of levels to make up for the lack of durability of the knight.
So, Edgeworth fighting the pirates in the backdrop of the Sea Shrine, because that's what you normally see when you're in Onrak and you go to the Sea Shrine. There is our slab, so we're going to be able to head down to the Crescent Lake area where Dr. Un was hanging out in his normal position in Melmond to translate that. Lufane is hiding over at the Melbourne area itself, and that's where our progression most likely will be now.
That is a lot of sailing and a lot of fetch questing.
It is.
Ideally, when you come up here, you'd like to have the canoe and be able to check off waterfall and ordeals, but this seems to be the forced path right now. So it is interesting, both players gambled on this instead of going Earth.
Well, if Earth is where the progress is, and both players are making this effort in what turns out to be fruitless at the end, then it'll be a very interesting reaction to see what they both find in Earth Cave.
Well, we've already seen the incentive ribbons, so as far as non-progression rewards, even Ruby would be progression at this point, so it would have to be tail or opal bracelet.
Oh, please let it be a vanilla Ruby somewhere floating in a chest to go get the rod from Sarda. Please. That would be sensational.
And the runners have been able to make a lot of ground with this black shirt in the early game. That Ice 2 has really been our best AoE magic. They do have Lit 3 now, which will do more damage, but you gotta have the right enemies for it.
So as we're sailing by on Rack right now, and there's one of our Cardia Islands.
Question in chat about what was in Marsh Cave. That was the TNT, which led us to Narek, who gave us the ship. "30 minutes in, they've been able to cover a lot of ground. It just doesn't feel like it particularly because we're so restricted without the airship or the canoe at this point."
Well, they've covered a lot of ground. They just can't get into much of it. That's the problem. Right now, we're on the northern half of the Onrak continent, which you rarely get to see. You can't dock up here for any reason because there's nothing up here. So you don't get to see that very often.
Now, sometimes if it's not a race situation, you might see a runner save on the waterfall entrance, and then you can row the canoe right on up there.
Oh yeah, I've done that
That's just
before.
for kicks.
Yeah, I've done that before for fun, to see what was up there.
So right now, the routing on this kind of works out for them, because if the Lefane turns out to be a dud, you've still moved in the direction of Earth Cave, and those are only two possible sources of progress right now.
Well, I don't see either runner skipping the Check of Blue Fane right now, because that is a quick thing to do. Whereas dipping into Earth Cave and checking all the ram chests, that would take a lot longer. So I have a feeling if it is Earth Cave, it will be a last location type of thing. So Edgeworth, as I suspected, is going to translate a slab right now. Tyerenex seems to be heading right behind him in that direction. Chad is already calling for Floater to be in Blue Fane. Rod is supposedly going to be losing Cardia, according to the Hangry Canuck.
Edgeworth is getting the business from these undead, but he finally gets Arm 4 off, which should take care of business.
Yeah, we have our poison music now. And Edgeworth translates the slab. A slab! Yes!
Chat would like to know who's ahead. We have Edgeworth covering ground just a little bit faster than Tyerenex right now, but that's not any significant margin.
Life 2 at level 5.
Quake and Warp are going to be spells you want, but I think restricted by class change there.
And also we don't have the black magic to get the black mage available to get Warp on that user either.
It is Red Mage learnable though, so that's
very
quite
limited.
the welcome addition.
Very limited charges though.
If you need a lot of charges of life too, something is going horribly, horribly wrong.
Well, we could have a nasty Temple Fiend revisit later, you never know.
Well, it's your Red Mages who are least likely to survive. They're a lot less likely than the knight. So real quick, what Edge is doing is he's using the save items and then doing a power cycle reset to get back to the start of the encounter table. He's doing this frequently enough to avoid getting encounters and making him able to travel fast.
And now we've got the slab translated, so it's no more Lupa. It's now, here, you get this. Yes!
It is the ruby!
Yes! This is a good scene.
So now it's the hike to Sarda to find out what item is available. And there's still opportunities for fetch quests, let's not forget.
I still would like to see the crystal leading the ruby myself, but oh well. So here we are in the Titan's Tunnel, and crunch, 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 so sweet.
Would you settle for ruby leading to crystal?
Yes, please.
It is a possibility at this point. So I always have a harder time judging these encounter tables when I'm watching instead of playing, but it looks like a really, really quick first encounter, and then an okay walk on the second encounter, which Edge is using to travel the overworld.
So Edge gets his canoe, and I'm sure he's looking at that saying, well, I wish it was a floater instead. But the canoe will open up some progression points for him at this point. That will open up, one for one, the waterfall. It will open up the floater items, well, I should say the desert item spot in your on-rack area. Also opens up House of Ordeals. And he's going to open these 4 chests right now while he's here.
You've also got Volcano, which isn't incentivized for an item, but it is a required destination if you want to go for the orbs first.
And then Ice Cave is also available as well. But I'm showing he'll do the 3 while he's over here.
Yeah, so there's a lot of choices of where you go from here.
He's going to Earth
I
Cave.
think Edge is going to check first floor Earth.
Yeah. If he finds the rod, he may just go ahead and finish it. But we only have 1 loose item left, so the likelihood of that is very low.
No, so this is a pretty solid play because you're right here, and you hate to have to double back to it anyways. And even if it's not your item, it might lead to something that's useful. Obviously, Masamune would be top of the list.
Masamune would be very, very worth walking out right now if we were to find it. Right now, he's going through a lot of encounters on this, unfortunately, trying to get down there. The Bulls really want to fight today.
Now, the second walk isn't that great. He was using it on the overworld because it was reliable. As far as a dungeon goes, you'd probably rather be deeper in the encounter table than this.
So Edgeworth finds Ice Sword there, and I think he's going to walk that one out.
It's not hugely better than the Flame Sword, but it is definitively better than the Flame Sword, so you're not going to pass on that.
I forgot that he picked up Warp, so he used Warp to get out of there quickly instead.
And that was probably a pretty big consideration. Otherwise, you could just leave the Ice Sword for later, because it doesn't really make that much of a difference. He doesn't bother with the heal staff.
And he's done here for now. He is walking away. Tyerenex, meanwhile, did head... I think that was the dock for the Crescent Lake area I just saw. We're going to see when he comes back up. No, I completely lied. I saw a different dock.
There's just so many choices right now, it's hard to decide which you go to. I do kind of like the Ordeals waterfall play.
We are getting the Ordeals right now from Tyerenex. I would make the play to Waterfall and Ordeals in some order myself right now, based on where I was on the map. So I like what Tyerenex is doing right now. I have a feeling that could be worth checking out. We have 2 incentive items in those locations, whereas we only have 1 guaranteed in Ice Cave. And yeah, we have Volcano, which we have to do anyway with the Armory and Agama grind possible. But looking for the items that you need to complete the game seems more important to me, so making this play seems better, and Edgeworth is following behind into Ordeals right now.
Also, having those 2 early loose incentive items just really prioritizes all the remaining incentive locations.
Exactly.
And if you're just joining us, we had 2 key-locked items with the Oxyale and the TNT.
No,
well, TNT was Marsh.
The herb.
Yeah, the herb. So those were our 2 early loose incentive items.
Now, for those wondering, the herb has not yet been turned in, and there is a good reason for this. The doctors are on vacation, and we now know that Bahamut is guarding the king. We know that Dr. Una is in his normal location, which means that we know that the Elf Prince's caretaker is in the Cardi Islands. So we have to get the airship to get the item from the Elf Prince today. There's another item locked there that we can't pick up yet.
So who's going to find the path through this pillar maze first? It's the run has just been really close together the whole time. They've swapped advantages back and forth at various times. Tyerenex was a little bit faster on the exploration through Marsh. Edge got through the turn-ins a little bit faster, and now they're on the same dungeon, same time.
We'll see you guys from here faster. Go ahead.
Yeah, question in chat, did they agree on the same party, or was that coincidence? Little A, little B. So, the fighter red mage, first red mage, is forced. They both brought a second red mage, and Tyerenex had a third red mage, but upon seeing Life 2 at level 1...
Life 2 is at level 5. Cure 4 is at level 1.
Yeah, seeing Cure 4 caused him to reroll to be able to get the white mage with Cure 4.
Now, in case anyone's asking why Cure 4 being at level 1 will be enough to cause him to reroll, Cure 4 was not accessible to the red mage at all, because it's in the 4th slot. That is a white mage only spot, so as soon as Tyerenex saw that, he's like, I ain't passing on that, and he quickly redid his party and put the white mage in there so he can get his Cure 4.
Cure 4, the second best healing spell in the game. Life 2 is
of course. And we're trying to solve the maze of ordeals right now.
Tyerenex got through it first, so he's the first to the nightmare trap tile. The first time we were in here, first race between these two, those nightmares were literally a nightmare to get past, and then if you did, you had gargoyles with Death Touch. So
now, Edgeworth just blazed past Tyerenex, who took the fight. Edgeworth did not take the fight.
The trouble with those nightmares is there are really high evade enemies. We get the chime, which is an interesting little pickup.
That is a very interesting little pickup.
So a high evade enemy, your swords don't really do great, so you're trying to chip damage those with Ice 3 or Ice 2 from the Black Shirt. Quad X would probably take them down quickly, but Quad X, Nuke, Fade, those are about your only options to do it quickly.
Now I'm just thinking, the Chime, that I believe opens the Mirage Tower, if I remember correctly. Is there a dock south of Mirage Tower that was added in these fights?
There is a dock to let you into Mirage. Also, there's a question in chat about the sword icon next to the canoe. That's the defense sword, which they picked up out of the Dwarven Treasury.
So we have a few possible places to go right now. It looks like Edgeworth is going to prioritize the Honorac area again. and find out what the vendor item is. That seems to be his current job. Maybe the waterfall. Maybe the waterfall instead. Go to the waterfall. I suspect he will check the vendor item while he's up here. I can't see him leaving that unchecked. I mean the vendor location.
Yeah, you don't want to miss that, especially we've seen Melmond and Lefane already. Those are our two areas without an item shop. So we're talking a 1 in 3 chance of the vendor item now.
Meanwhile, we are now in the waterfall cave, and there is a special character we like to refer here as out of bounds bat. He can appear as we're heading into the treasure room, so we're going to get a chance to see it on Edgeworth's side in just a moment if it decides to make an appearance today.
So you talked about Edgeworth blazing past just on the nightmare fight, but Tyerenex also took a couple of those zombie dragons. He'll go into Waterfall with a little higher levels and a few more spell charges, but Edgeworth is able to make that progress sooner than Tyerenex is able to get there.
So the question will be whether the higher levels give Tyerenex the advantage right now in terms of getting through this cave faster. Sometimes it's a very delicate balance. The lower level your characters are, the longer the trip could be. But at the same time, you want to try and do this as quickly as possible. So it's a bit of a balance finding the spot in between where you can do it as quickly as you possibly can.
Yeah, it also wasn't a bad setup with those zombie dragons because they were unrunnable, so they could not ambush you. So it made him a very compelling target for Harm 4, and I think Tyerenex just used those charges up.
Ooh. Dazzle on the Mudgulls today, and they're on the Earth floor later, so that could be a little unfortunate.
Toxic comes out, makes you very glad to have a couple ribbons.
It would. Cure 4 recovers Lar completely.
It will also cure status ailments.
It does.
Cure stone or death, but otherwise you're okay.
Tyerenex is still in the river right now, took an encounter on the river. Going to make his way up to, more Dazzle from the Mudgulls. So Tyerenex is going to enter the waterfall cave right now, and I'm sure he's going to be happy to see the Mudgulls himself.
The nice thing about the Mudgulls is they're usually not very high on their HP, so they're often an easy kill, and then it's just a question of what they're doing to you instead.
Tyerenex is right behind Edgeworth right now, maybe a few steps away from his location. Yeah, they're right in the same column right now. In fact, I think they're about on the same tile.
And that's a lot of Harm 4 charges to be able to throw out at these mummies.
And I think both runners are going to be using warp to get out of here once they find out what is in the chest here. I don't think they're going to want to walk their way out of here. We're getting a lot of encounters in here today, too.
Yeah, the thing about shuffling the encounter table, it always seems to me like you end up picking up more encounters. But our dungeon encounter rate is 100%, so it's theoretically the same number of encounters as vanilla per step on average.
Indeed. So we are in the room for Edgeworth. He's on the trap tile. Tyerenex is a few steps away from the trap tile, fighting some more mummies outside the room. We did not see out of bounds battle on Edgeworth's side. We'll have a chance on Tyerenex's side, but we're going to find out right now what the robot has. Well, after we get a house and a saber. There's the crown.
You asked for it earlier, now we get it. And Edge is going to be done with this a little bit faster. So we found Ice Armor, Flame Shield. Then we found Flame Shield, Ice Armor. This seed is really telling us this should have been a double fighters.
Yeah, it's giving a good hint at that. Not that the equipment usually would be logically declaring something like that in the first place. The equipment is just there for the equipment to be there. But seeing that kind of equipment just tells you we should have got another fighter in the party. Meanwhile, Edgeworth is eagerly taking that crown and probably going to be begrudgingly going back to the southern continent still without an airship in hand.
He's begrudgingly still fighting this Nacho because he already wanted it gone. They're a pretty good experienced enemy, not great, but pretty good, especially in a pack if you're able to clear them out easily. This was the opposite of that.
And like I suspected, he is checking the vendor item. Tyerenex probably going to do the same thing. The vendor spot, I should say, may not be a vendor item.
Question in chat, what's Edge's fighter armor? I think he's got ice armor, flame shield.
Cube!
It's the cube.
So that's almost a French vanilla cube, because that's normally what the robot has on it. So we're getting it from the vendor outside the waterfall instead. I guess he made a dip in earlier and picked it up.
So now we've got the crown turn in. We could complete Mirage, but I'm not brave enough for that.
Tyerenex did not get the cube.
That's not going to bite him now.
Yeah,
we know, but he'll probably look back on that with some regret, because if that had been the floater, it would have been a disaster.
Yeah, he'll think about that later. Right now, it won't bite him, but as you said, he'll be fine. But if that was the floater, that would be a horrible miss.
Okay, fair point from Elastoid in chat. There is still a chance that the floater is loose in sky. That is the one scenario where that could bite. But right now we have the crown turn in, and we still have an incentive ice cave to explore.
That is an opal bracelet.
So, fun fact, apparently Astos won't trigger if you can't take the item spot. Did not know that.
Now we know that.
It's logical, though.
You have to actually take the item from him, otherwise he will not fight, because he's gone after you fight.
Interesting routing by Tyerenex now. And I think this is going to end up being an ice cave play, but coming from the inner sea river system instead of swinging back around.
So Edgeworth is once again sailing the high seas, and let's just say this seed is giving us a lot of the theme of the tournament. A lot of sailing.
Oh, a little route divergence. Tyerenex is going to check out the Temple of Fiends key locked.
This might be a worthwhile play. If the floater is in here, this will pay off.
This is a pretty low percentage play for it being a necessary free item loose in these three, but it's one of those that it doesn't take you a lot of time to check it, and if it pays off, it's almost certainly an advantage over your opponent.
He may also feel he's already behind. Again, let's just point out, so to explain my comment there, the runners are not able to watch each other's stream or this commentary while the race is going on, so they don't get information as to what the other runner is doing, what items are where from the other runners checking, and thus they do something else and know they're skipping something that's not important. They can't do any of that, so they don't know what the other runner is doing at all. So Tyerenex could be feeling like he's already behind at this point, and he might be thinking, if this is something that Edgeworth has not done, I'm going to take the lead on this, and this may be why he's making this play. Meanwhile, Edgeworth is going into ice, well, trying to go into Ice Cave, but I think he wanted to reset the table a little bit. Now he's going into Ice Cave.
So very solid play. We've got Warp. We've got the ability to do this pretty quickly as Temple of Fiends strikes out. So now Tyerenex probably hits the river system and goes to Ice Cave himself. And we've got the incentive item here, which is pretty likely to be our progress.
At this point, the odds are very high, unless it's very loose in Volcano, which would be our last loose item if that's the case. The odds are very high that it's going to be right here.
There's still fetch quest possibilities on the table because we haven't gotten Crystal yet.
At this point, fetch quest would still be progress.
Well, yeah, just saying the progress could be behind a fetch quest.
It could be. And mages don't like black shirts, so there we go. They're down to that and some lightning.
It's a little nice how much we've explored before coming to Ice Cave because it really brought up the levels. In our tournament settings with Randomizer, it's not uncommon to do this in the level 6 to 8 range, and being in double digits just offers a lot more survivability for doing this.
If you find something with Dazzle and Toxic on a trap tile, good luck getting out.
Apparently Edge didn't get warped because he's doing this the long way.
Interesting.
Chad says it was class change restricted. Okay, I'll buy that for $1.
Yeah, that would make sense. It is level 5. I think it is in the second slot.
Tyerenex is about to get to Ice Cave. He's a few floors behind Edge, but this is still a very tight race between them. Not really a lot of difference. Biggest difference between them right now, Edgeworth a couple floors ahead, Tyerenex a couple levels up on Edgeworth.
And Edgeworth just hit level 14 on several characters, so he's doing okay there. Actually, everyone's at level 14 on his team.
Another good point in chat is Edgeworth did pick up the vendor item as the cube, but unless that blocks floater, that's going to be a pretty easy pickup for Tyerenex later.
Yeah, they'll go back with the airship later and get that easily as long as it's not blocking the airship itself. That's when it will be a detrimental miss. And Edgeworth taking another shot at the Frosty, who has Scorch. How is an Ice Dragon using Scorch? Someone explain that to me. Scorch and Frost. Those Frosties aren't going to be good for the trip through Temple of Fiends Revisited later. We got 4 of those in a pack later.
Chad asks about the key item count. We have found 11 items so far. But of course we also start with Free Bridge, Free Canal.
Edgeworth deciding the heel helmet is worth dropping things. He went into the menu, switched a couple items around, and then realized when he tried again to pick it up that he didn't drop something, so this time he dropped something and got it. Tyerenex is falling through a hole right now after getting his cabin. He's on the trap tile right now. They are on the same floor once again.
This dungeon a very good place to have harm for. There's a lot of undead, and it can do a lot of damage for you. I was wrong. Tyerenex was not ahead on levels. He just hits 14, so Edge was able to make up some ground through the waterfall.
And Tyerenex is going to get to experience the glare from the Frosties, and survive, of course.
Light Axe is a pretty nice find for giving you free harm 2 casts. The heal helmet is second best for absorb. Obviously, the magic defense of the ribbon kind of trumps everything in the helmet spot, but you got heal 2 casts and it's second at absorb.
Yeah, the Light Axe is usually a really good item to find, as you mentioned, for the harm cast. They do have harm 4 today, so the odds of them needing that are not as high, depending on how many charges they keep of harm 4, as we find another flock of wizards. But they will still use that if they want to preserve those charges for something else, perhaps.
You can also throw it on the night and just have that many more if you're, say, against a vampire fight and you really need all 6 of them to die in one round.
Yeah, they don't stand very long to those. So the eye is causing our fighters to lose intelligence. Not that fighters really have a lot of intelligence.
Eye goes down to a black shirt, and that's the tail. We are looking for a loose item.
Wow!
We have to go for loose item in either Volcano or Mirage Sky.
No. I'm gonna correct you. Bahamut is at Elfland. They can go to Elfland Castle and get the item from and class change. Now, I don't know if that will help them. Now that I think about that, is not progression.
Yeah, that's not progression. Progression is only going to be from a loose item. We've either got to go Volcano or Mirage. Volcano is the close one, so gotta figure that's what both do. But this is really important for Tyerenex. He desperately needs it to be in Volcano.
Now, did we say that Edgeworth did not have Warp? He may not have taken that tail out.
He had Exit.
Oh, he had Exit, okay. I didn't see Exit, okay.
This is an amazing seed.
Yeah, this is a good seed. This is the kind of seed I bet Edgeworth wishes he was calling and not playing.
You know, he probably doesn't mind this too much. It's been steady all the way. You're not beating your head against anything having a lot of depth.
No. But this is the kind of seed I can see him in the booth laughing at.
Well, I talked earlier about possibly skipping hairpin chests on this floor of Volcano as an example. Obviously, the situation has changed tremendously because you cannot afford to miss this loose item, so you've got to check everything.
So we're getting a scenario in chat, and if you had asked me this at the start of the race before we even talked to the king and the princess, I might have laughed at this, but this is actually possible right now. There could be a loose rod in Sky, and the Sages could have the floater.
Minor correction in chat, we've certainly seen wipeouts of the party so far, just not in terms of a deep dive into a dungeon have they happened. But the Stone Touch creeps in the early game, we certainly had deaths.
So could the loose item be here in the armory? We're going to find out. So there's some money, some more money, and more money, and a very angry worm of the gray variety. Or more green to me.
Alright, so we had a request to talk about the encounter table. It kind of takes a double explanation because first you have to understand that there is a table that says if you go this many steps in Final Fantasy 1, this is normal vanilla game, if you go this many steps...
Interrupting you, there's our crystal. Go ahead.
Yep. So you could Gomo the rest of Volcano now, because that's our last loose item.
But he's going to look for Mazmune or something like that. Anyway, carry on with the encounter table.
I think we'll see Gomo checks, but not too much. So, hypothetically speaking, this is not an exact number, but let's just say it's 10 steps to your first encounter. Anytime you power off and power on the console, it's going to be 10 steps to that first encounter. So you walk the 10 steps, you get that encounter, and then you do a soft reset. You just think the reset button on the front of your NES. That moves you into the second encounter's walk. You've already taken those 10 steps off the table. So now if it's 20 steps to the second encounter, you get a much further walk. So in this case, we've randomized the table and see it's only like 3 or 4 steps to the first encounter. So they can do that hard power cycle reset, get that first encounter, immediately do the soft reset out of it, and then take the better second encounter walk. And for more on this, I recommend visiting us in the Discord, and there's a lot of resources available to explain these things more comprehensively than I'm prepared to do right now.
Yeah, that's a long explanation to how that works, and it's more suited to one of those things. If you want to play the game and learn more about how that works, it's better to learn it that way, because it would probably you probably talk about that for at least a good half hour or so, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, and I don't have every detail of it memorized.
Yeah.
I have what I call a working knowledge of it. I can recognize when I've got an encounter table that I want to work with a little bit. Do I want to take one encounter off? Do I want to take a couple of encounters off to get a better walk? So, for example, when we get to the end game, Temple of Fiends Revisited, I'm almost positive, it's dangerous to predict this kind of thing, but I'm almost positive what we'll see Edgeworth do is a power cycle reset before going into Temple of Fiends Revisited. Walk straight in, he will get an encounter in normal Temple of Fiends. Adamant continues the fetch quest. He'll get one encounter there. You run from that encounter, kill it, whatever you got to do, and then you've got the better walk all the way through Temple of Fiends Revisited.
I want to point to Tyerenex for a moment here. He's continuing to fight Carrie, it looks like. So he is happy with the situation. He does not want to come back to the volcano, and he's not planning to search the chest any further later. He did pick up his crystal, so he can do the fetch quest, but right now he wants to get done here and not come back.
I really like that play, actually. I like it better than leaving. There's nothing stopping you from doing this. You have the ice sword, you have decent levels, and you have the ice shirt. So get some of these go mode chests, see if you can't pick up better stuff, and then take the fetch quest that you know is leading to either
Meanwhile, the crystal from the volcano leads to the adamant, and somehow that adamant turns into a floating rock that is going to summon a majestic flying ship.
You just had to get the adamant shell out of the way so that you could get to the pure floater ore that was underneath it all.
Meanwhile, Tyerenex is checking the chest for any kind of good weaponry he can use. So Edgeworth is going to make his way over back to the Provoca area. I don't think he's going to be too worried about the ship anymore. He may take the small sail if he left the Provoca area to head over. Nope, he didn't. So he has to walk all the way.
So as far as endgame swords go, we're pretty set now. We picked up Sun Sword, Excalibur, and Defense, and any one of those you'd not be unreasonable to take to the end game.
Now, if you remember why Tyerenex didn't check that last chest, it's actually tied to another chest, so I believe it's empty at this point.
Question in chat, did Tyerenex reset? He did after seeing the level 1 magic, and he wanted to get Cure 4 on a white mage. Edge brought the white mage from the beginning, so he was already set for that.
Yeah,
which, interesting, I don't think it's made much difference, but...
Not yet, no. It probably will later, but he did not want to risk loot not being able to have access to Cure 4. He wanted that on his white mage. He wanted to make sure he had access to that. So here we are at Carrie. Tyerenex is about to start our first Fiend fight. As he does, at 1 hour, 5 minutes, and 19 seconds, we're in the air.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised Edge didn't fly over to Elf Castle first, and...
he wants the town information. He wanted to find out... He wanted to find out the on-rack was there. Now he's going to be going over... on-rack is at the Gaia location. So we know the Sea Shrine was airship locked.
And this isn't unreasonable. He's going to do the herb turn in first. So when he goes to Elf Castle, he's able to get both things done instead of having to go back. So
moving back to Tyerenex, as Edgeworth is going to get the item turned in, the herb. C is down on the floor, kissing the dirt. So the herb is now turned in for Edgeworth. Tyerenex is using Temper to power up A. A now hits Carrie for 187 damage, and Viz being used to make him more evasive. B goes down, so we're down to just Invis charges, and Carrie attempting to swing at a very evasive A right now, who hits for 277. That's Termination.
Yeah, that Sun Sword was going to do the job eventually. It was a veteran move to pick up the Invis when you didn't have a better spell. It definitely paid its off right there.
So now our check of the Cardia Isles. We have a Pearl Ring that Edgeworth is saying, yes, please.
Opal Shield won't work till class change, but it will be slightly superior. It offers lightning resist as well as slightly better absorb. Tyerenex is our first runner to get the orb, so it's different progress for these runners right now.
Yeah. Now we're at the point where
really feels the appeal of clearing out that dungeon instead of going for treasure first, because Tyerenex is going to be able to do all of this very quickly while Edgeworth still has to go back. And he may go mode and not see things like that Excalibur.
very possible. So, yeah, this is the point where if you were to ask who's in the lead, we would be basically forced to say we're not sure. It depends on where they meet up later. At this point, it's complete pure speculation because the progression is different for both of them. It's a matter of how they do something that the other runner did, whether they do those things faster. We have a good idea as to who might be in the lead, but it's all speculation at this point. So now Bahi's going to give Edgeworth the ability to grow up. And there we go. And we have our rod from the Prince. So Earth Cave open. Edgeworth seems to be unsure where he wants to go. Flies around aimlessly for a moment. Now he's heading in the general direction of the volcano. And now he will, it looks like, take on, well, doing the encounter table first. Then he will take on the Pirate King carry as he goes down.
Yeah, and this means he gets to equip some better stuff, so that's good as well. This looked like a seed where we were just gonna jet through when we got the early items that we did, finding those 2 loose items so quickly, but then it was quite the fetch for the rest of our progress from there, which is still actually not done.
Yep, this is, if I may use this term, what I'm going to call the rover seed. It was, hey boy, fetch!
Edgeworth did just pick up his Excalibur, which is actually going to make an easier time for carry than Tyerenex had with just the Sun Sword.
And there's that Sun Sword for Edgeworth.
He'll be able to use that on a Red Wizard now, which is quite nice as well.
He did not immediately do that, though, so he's not rushing to make that change, it looks like. As he hits level 15, finally. Now he's going to equip that.
One of the things you can say about randomizers / RPGs in general is menuing is the true final boss. The more time you spend in menuing versus somebody else, that's kind of the easiest place to make up time. So Edgeworth is one of the absolute masters of menuing. He's very quick on it. He's good about managing when he needs to go in there. The more time you spend on those menus, well, hey, 5 minutes on menus is 5 minutes on your final time. So the more you shave there, the better off you are.
The Tyerenex also did his class change. He just went and got all of his new magic from Corderia. So he is all set with his Cure 4 charges and his Knight having some magic now. And there's the adamant for him. So he's going to be heading over to Dwarf Cave probably immediately to get his floater.
Yeah, the trouble with what he's done is it's taken extra travel. Well, he did it by boat, so it didn't really cost him a ton, but going back to Elfland, it would have been better to do what Edgeworth did and come back and do both with the floater instead.
Indeed. So he's going to walk into Dwarf Cave right now, and hooray!
Chat discussing now the people who have really high-level menu skills, and Tristal is another one on that list, but there are a bunch of really great people up there. CC, Minochi, I couldn't name everybody, but
yeah, I know.
Kind of see it, and for a more casual player like me, it's like, okay, I know I can never top that.
Yeah, I know Tristal for sure. He's one who is, I believe he's won a couple of these tournaments that I remember seeing as well. So he is definitely one of those who's really high up there on the list. But as you mentioned, there are a lot of great players in this community who can do things like that very well. So it looks like Earth Cave is indeed on the agenda. We do want to get the Crescent Lake items, so we have to do this.
Each with an orb now. Edgeworth able to go mode. He did check these first floor chests early. I think he got an ice sword for his trouble, was about it.
Yeah, I saw an ice sword, not much else. Oh no, I think it was ice armor, actually. Or maybe both, I don't know. Anyway, he's going down to, after a very quick encounter there with a bunch of gargoyles, and another one quick encounter with some gargoyles. He will get to those stairs on the corner there, and he will eventually get to the 3rd floor.
This being the vampire floor, not commonly checked for anything. There is one treasure chest that you can go to on the very north here that doesn't take a lot to get to. Might see Edge do that. With the ribbons, he's in really good shape, but there's still utility in things like the white shirt, the power gauntlet, the dragon armor that you may want. And that's the one he just walked by, so never mind that.
Yeah. So Tyerenex is going to be picking up his shoulder right now. 1 hour, 14 minutes, 23 seconds. He's in the air. Edgeworth is skipping all the chests on the roof floor, so he is kind of go-moding everything now. Rub is attempted from something. I didn't see what it was because it was gone so fast, but Rub didn't do anything.
Yeah, who knows? If I had to predict what Edgeworth is going to do, I don't think there's 10 treasure chests in his future. There's a few that are just so easy to check, you're going to as long as you need.
Well, there is a good one to check. There is the Zeus Gauntlet. We have not done Sea Shrine yet, so that can come in useful.
Question in chat, why is the timer different? Edge just didn't start his timer in the first minute, so they're on the same pace. What I'm saying is, if we stopped Tyerenex's stream to sync them up, we would actually be a minute behind, and that wouldn't be accurate. That makes sense.
Yeah. So Tyerenex finds the good elf helper here, and is going to exit out of there, and will eventually make his way back to the castle. So yeah, this is going to be an extra trip back to the castle for Tyerenex as well, because he already did his class change. So that's going to be an extra trip that he has to make that Edgeworth did not have to make. He got both of those at once.
Tyerenex to clear out these islands. There was some stuff here, not a bunch to write home about.
Not really
and
a lot
Edgeworth
of anything.
Yeah, Edgeworth is about to get orb number 2.
So we saw one speed bump earlier. This is just an enhanced version of that. 113 damage, another 31, 162, and there's a 236 for the night. That is most often going to be enough to take down Lit, and it was this time.
Really, the only downside to the progress we're making is we're moving so fast that the levels could be a little lower than we'd like going into Temple of Fiends Revisited.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen... the last level change I saw was level 15. I don't know if we hit 16 or not, but Edgeworth is going to go to Crescent Lake. Well, now. He's there now, at the Alpha location. He's going to see what the sages have for him today, and normally they're lined up in a nice circle, because, you know, they're very proper gentlemen. But, looking at them, I think they have drunk something last night.
And there's the bottle, so we now have access to the fairy item. Question in chat, will they grind any for levels? I don't think so, other than I wouldn't be surprised to see an Edgeworth make a play where he drops 1 or 2 party members for Sky and Sea, and funnels that experience into his Knight plus 1 more. Really, though, the goal is just to have level 24 on your knight by the time you're getting to Kraken 2. Actually, without Masamune, you'd want to go a little bit higher than that for Excalibur, which doesn't have the same hit rate. So, really, even 24 doesn't take on the same importance.
Well, we just hit level 16 for Tyerenex right now. That I did just see. So he is moving through the third floor of Earth Cave. Is he going to check the chest down in this floor? If he does and he finds something like the Masamune or the Vorpal down here, those could be very important for Temple of Fiends Revisited. Getting through quickly some of these fights.
Question in chat, can you cast Exit from Temple of Fiends Revisited? You absolutely can. So that is a place to pick up potential experience if that's the second part of the question.
Definitely. I remember when I was a kid taking Exit and just getting out of there when I was... First time I beat the game after obviously days, because I didn't know anything way to do it quickly then. I just used Exit all the time and got experience, got out, saved, went back in. So that is definitely a valid strategy if you're playing the game casually. If you're going in as a speedrunner, you're trying to finish the game quickly, so you're going to try and do it in one trip.
And thank you very much to Crab Cakes for looking it up for us. The next swing for Excalibur wouldn't be till level 29 for the night. And there's just no way you're chasing level 29 for Temple of Fiends at this point. So I think as long as you're low 20, you're probably just go.
The Tyerenex is coming down to the third floor speed bump right now. I don't think I saw him checking the chest. I may have just blinked and missed it. Let's see if he stops to pick up the Zeus Gauntlet that we do know is in his chest, because Edgeworth did check this chest.
This is one of those, it just doesn't cost you anything. That's 3 steps. It takes 2 to walk over, 1 back, so yeah, it's 3-4 steps to pick up that chest that you'd hate to miss out on something really good if it was that close.
And a rod shatters a plate, and begs a question how the rod is not enough to shatter the plate in Temple of Fiends Revisited, but I guess we'll never know.
Well, that's different. That's a gate, not a plate. And it's evil.
Okay, Tyerenex starting his Lich fight, as Edgeworth is making his way towards the Sea Shrine, having checked the magic stocks in Onrak. And we have a nice orange hue to the Sea Shrine today.
Yeah, so in terms of go mode routing of this dungeon, a lot of runners will end up picking up 5 treasure chests, and that's what we'll most likely see out of Edge. There is a chance he completely bypasses Sharknado and says, I'm just solid, but I think with Power Gauntlet White Shirt out there, you'd still want to hit those for the low cost of 2 steps.
Tyerenex also finds the correct stage on speech number 1, so he's going to get out of there now.
So we get the Arsahag Wizsahag encounter, always unrunnable, at least currently.
And this seafood battle is runnable, the sea troll and the sea snakes, but he is taking the fight.
He's got plenty of lit 3 charges, and he does want experience.
He wants
if
experience.
the stuff didn't roll too high on the HP, then that's good. But they actually seem to maybe be a little high on the magic defense, and perhaps those sea snakes aren't worth it going forward.
So Tyerenex saw one of our friendly Tyros, and he apparently is in the non-meat camp because he did not destroy it.
I side more on that camp in particular because Tyros just tend to be more effort than they are experience. And as I continue to refine my efforts to play this game, I try and spend my time more and more on efficient games. Tyros tend to be pretty inefficient.
So Tyerenex heading towards the bottle turn-in right now, going to speak to the fairy, get the loot. Now the loot is, as much as it seems like a useless item, the loot is required. There is one specific location you have to have that loot. That is in Temple of Fiends Revisited to open that plate that I mentioned, or I think you said gate earlier. That's the only place the loot comes into play, and the game expects you to have it. So if you have not defeated Garland for some weird reason, that's where the game will check it.
The Go Mode chests pay some dividends with the Aegis Shield, the Best Shield, and the Game Clencher, the Bane Sword. No regrets for finding either one of those.
And welcome to Kraken's Floor.
Just lobsters on this seafood mix is probably better, except for the fact they have trance, but HP-wise, they seem to be going down to Lit 3s easier.
They're also better seafood than snakes, but we won't go into that. As Edgeworth now comes into the very weird-looking big room here that you just walk through.
Real quick, meanwhile, Tyerenex has gone to the Oasis and picked up that cube, so now he has his Go Mode officially. They're gonna high-five in the Sea Shrine, although not the same floor or anything.
And, oh, we had a counter right in front of Kraken. So Edgeworth is going to see a big eye and a gray shark. Is going to take the fight and knock him out with black shirt and some Lit 2 charge.
When he saw that
Charges.
encounter come up, he was probably annoyed. When he saw what the encounter was, he was like, oh, well, okay then.
Yeah, we'll take that. Just preparing me for Kraken. So there we are. Now he gets a level, and he's a little better for the Kraken fight. So he's going to prepare his party now. And release the Kraken! So literally 3 hits for 139. We already have an Edge character on the floor. 103 hit for Lightning 3 from another charge. Zolf using Invis on the Knight. Mono continuing the Lit 3 charge. 328 I think I saw. Kraken using Fire 2. A little unnatural spell for him. 159 damage from the Knight. A Lit 2 charge comes out for 67. Black Shirt is being used for 77. Lara hitting for another 324. That is enough to terminate.
Oh my, the lobsters had Blaze. That's where you're really glad to have those ribbons
Oh my.
to give you the magic defense, but a bunch of casts of Blaze can really hurt. And that also says when you're on that water floor, you do not want to be sitting around at low HP.
D is down to 4 HP and stunned, and B and C are both taking dirt naps right now, so that is a difficult situation for Tyerenex. The Knight needs to bail the party out right now, and then hopefully he can still keep going. D is no longer stunned. He's using the wooden staff to no effect.
A defense sword in Excalibur, he's able to do this. Even if he had lost the White Mage, I would definitely keep going in the dungeon with just the...
Well, he's got his full party again now. As Edgeworth goes, he takes a battle with a couple of sandworms, a little unsavory looking to me. They go down. He's on his way to Mirage Tower.
Final dungeon, don't think he'll take any treasures chests here.
Yeah.
If he was going to go after anything, probably the 4 by the teleporter, but I don't think he'll even do that.
And he's definitely not going to do greater than less than room. That's a bit of a walk to get down there, and he didn't even do the first 4. I think he's go-moding everything. Meanwhile, we have the Cerebus here. He is going to be taking some fights, I'm sure, on the way up, plus any unrunnable fights he finds. He is only at level 19. I'm sure he will want some more levels for Temple of Fiends Revisited. I think ideally in the game you want to be at, what, 24, 25 by the time you get down to Chaos?
24 gets prioritized a lot because of the Masamune, so it's the minimum level for another swing of Masamune, and it's very handy to have that for your Kraken, Tiamat, and Chaos fights. That's what makes it a very good target level. That's not as significant here, but every level you get is also that much more HP, that much more magic defense, and those things just add up and help you out.
So Tyerenex continuing his Sea Shrine. Johnson's on the third floor. He finds another Aegis shield right there.
Well, there's only one, but he found his.
I guess I would open that one, yeah. And there's that Bane Sword for him.
It's actually equal absorb to the Opal Shield, but the resistances are generally preferred over just the lightning. In particular, a knight can equip the Aegis Shield and Dragon Armor and Pro Ring and be at near ribbon levels of magic defense. And the Opal would just overlap with the Dragon Armor anyways, so not much value there.
Tyerenex is going straight to Kraken now. We're going to see how Tyerenex does on his Kraken fight as Edgeworth is going to make his way up, taking another mummy fight, Endless mummy fight, in Mirage Tower.
That is a good point in chat, that finding the two ribbons as early as we did really reduced the danger factor in a lot of these dungeons. So for example, those lobsters with Blaze could have been an auto wipe. If we had had no ribbons at this point, it certainly would have taken out Tyrenex's party.
Indeed. So Tyerenex is fighting the Kraken right now. Fire 2 being shown to him as well. He is trying to use the Bane Sword. It does not do anything. Now it can, and it has been used to effect before. We also have seen Brack used on Kraken very frequently. Bane doesn't work that time either. Temper is being used to power up A. D is the one using the Bane Sword. More Temper from C. So he's also using Invis in some form on himself. So let's see if he starts swinging now. He's getting more Temper. More Temper. Kraken uses Fast to try to help himself a little bit here, but gets hit for 683. And D has served his usefulness. He's just using the wooden staff now. Kraken uses Hold on C. Says, I've had enough of you tempering the knight. But A swings for 681 and terminates him.
Yeah, the Tempers are going to get that Excalibur caught up quickly. That is one of the things that mitigates the need for, say, a Power Gauntlet is the low-level Temper, so they're just going to be able to pump those charges into the Excalibur very quickly. Edge up to the 20s now. If he were in a situation where he didn't have any ribbons in Go mode, that floor is a good one to get a couple checks in, because you can swing over to one of the rooms and get a bunch of treasures in a very confined space.
Tyerenex is checking the other chest here on the first floor. By the way, Edgeworth is coming up to the Bridge of Destiny, so chat, this is where you need to step up and throw out some emotes. And also, because I like to do this, give Wormek something to say, and we'll see if he gets to say it today.
A little debate on the levels for the Excalibur, and the swing is just not going to happen. There's no way Edge is going to take the time to get that knight up to 29, so we're not considering that. It's just really a consideration of what support stats do you give to the Excalibur.
I don't see any lines in chat yet, so I'll break up my own if we see one, I guess. But we didn't see one anyway, so it works out. We are on the Tiamat fight right now, and we only had 2 encounters on the Bridge of Destiny, so a very quiet bridge today. As Edgeworth is already facing Ink from Tiamat, 2 characters have had darkened eyesight, which doesn't do much. Invis being used on the knight, Temper being used on the knight. Of course, that's where your major hitting is going to come from, so that's what we're doing. And the spells continue to come out. Bane is used, not effective. Ice 2 is being used to hit for 102 on the Red Wizard. That is a lot of HP taken out there, so he's down to 135 on the Red Wizard, first one.
Tyerenex exploration is rewarded with ribbon number 3.
Nice.
I don't know that that's a game changer, but it's certainly not an unwelcome sight.
Certainly nice to have. Tyerenex gets hit for 518, starts using slow. Cure 4 is utilized to recover Lar completely, so he has all of his eyesight back. He'll have no problem swinging. And all his health back as well. Looks like we're using Temper again. XXXX is used, testing for HP, still standing. Bane Sword used, still standing. 138 damage. Blaze comes from Tyerenex. The Red Wizard mono goes down. And down to 3 men. Cure 4 being used on the White Mage, on the White Wizard. Bane spell is being attempted now. Fire 2 comes out from Tyerenex. Cure 4 to heal the White Wizard. Bane does not hit. Lar hits for 362. Critical hit.
High evade on this Tiamat, only hitting it 1 time. Bane is a fairly accurate spell, so when you can stack the charges like this, he should see success pretty quickly.
He got another 149 on that cycle. Bane still did not affect the dragon in this case. Another 149. Ink does not darken Lar this time. Bane's sword is used this time, and now the Bane spell, still ineffective. Bane is not helping today. Hold does not do anything. Black shirt utilized for 40 damage. I think he's not worried too much about Bane strats now. He's using the lightning because he should be getting close to the end of this fight. I think we've seen him maybe about 1,000 HP now. Sleep 2 puts the knight to sleep. Oh, I'm going to see Cure.
Yeah, sleep might have caused him to go back to Bane strats, but
Well, he woke back up.
Swing did the job.
Yeah, he woke back up immediately and got the 149, and that was it. Fight over. So he has all 4 orbs, and that means he's one potential shopping trip away from Temple of Fiends Revisit. So we are going to be seeing our first trip 2,000 years into the past in just a moment or two. He's heading in that general direction right now. And he has now arrived in for an area for his shopping trip. Checking his magic one more time. Seeing who else he can give Cure 4 to. Looks like the Red Wizards might be getting it. And we're seeing more spam emails in chat. We must have Tyerenex coming. Nope, he's on the 3rd floor, so he will be coming close soon to the Bridge of Destiny. Warmack notes are already in chat again. Thank you, Lyra, for being the first to do that this time. So we're gonna be getting another shot. And again, if you want Warmack to say something today, put a line in chat, and we'll see if he gets to say it.
Yeah, they didn't want to get caught off guard. Also, Tyerenex is doing a little more checking, so he's looking for most likely another sword at this point, be that either Masa or Vorpal.
And at 1 hour 35 minutes, Edgeworth is 2,000 years back in the past. So here we go.
Ooh, the Blue Dragons opened with Glare, took out a party member, and Edgeworth reset out of that.
Yeah, the Frosties did not like that.
Well, I was close on my prediction. Edge did burn an encounter in Temple of Fiends, but he reset out, and so he lost a few steps in doing that, was the one thing that surprised me. What does Tyerenex get with these last 4 checks?
Now we have 4 Frosties. Glare takes out the Red Wizard again. The Frosties are not having it today. They don't want to let him run away either. They finally got away, and he's just going to take the down party member for now. Poor Mono. And now what are the Gassies going to do today?
The encounter that broke the experience scale, but we're able to get away from that quickly. Then the bad man have to get their turn in, because that's what they do.
Oh, good RNG there. 8 bad men. He got away first. So we're getting our Bridge of Destiny trip from Tyerenex. I believe he either got onto it or he's very close to it right now.
Last 2 treasure chests hold nothing of value for Edgeworth. A little bit of gold in a cabin. Can't use either one of them while you're in the Temple of Fiends Revisited.
So Tyerenex working his way through the Bridge of Destiny and does not find a war mech, goes into his dragon fight. We'll cover him for a moment here as Edgeworth continues on in Temple of Fiends Revisited. Tyerenex cues the timeout fight. We know he has at least about 1,000 HP, this dragon does, because it seemed to be about that he took. That is his vanilla HP. So temper charges on A. Timeout hits for 4 damage. Keep swinging, Timeout. 1 hit for 1 damage each. So the temper charge is going to keep going on A, and it looks like we are going to use Invis. No Bane strats here. Tyerenex is powering up A to do the work here. And Invis, once again, Ink puts Darkness on B, but everyone else can see. Lit 3 is now coming out, and now the Bane strats are beginning. No Poison Smoke. Swing for 491 damage. Good first hit from A there. Lit 3 works for a decent chunk of damage. Lit 3 again for another 46. Green Medusa out on Edgeworth's side. Ice 2. That's a bit of a drain again on one of the red wizards. And moving to, I believe it's the 5th phase now. Bane Sword once again. No Poison Smoke. A hitting for another 375. Timeout hitting for 120. 84 left on B.
630 getting a little bit better hit rate on that Tiamat, which was a big deal, and gets through the fight.
634 damage does finish it off, so he's going to be on his way to his final shopping trip now. And Lich is now encountered. Harm 4, 147. Lara hits for 272, and I think one more hit should do this most likely.
May take just a little bit more, but yeah, Lich is generally not very strong and not very respected.
There's the one more good hit I was talking about. 124, and he's out. And hello, Agama. Goodbye, Agama.
Agama fact, Edgeworth doesn't want any more experience from them. So Tyerenex is going to be close enough that if there's a wipe from Edgeworth at this point on, Tyerenex will have a chance to get ahead. This has just been a solid, steady race, really, for both players. Obviously not a lot of difference if Edgeworth is in here with only a couple minutes advantage over Tyerenex.
Well, Tyerenex parks his airship in at 1 hour, 40 minutes, and about 40 seconds. He's about 5.5 minutes behind, I would say, maybe 5 minutes, entering Temple of Fiends Revisit. Now, it's going to be up to the gatekeepers, as chat says. It's going to be up to the gatekeepers, who really are from Kraken, Tiamat, and then Chaos himself at this point. It's really up to what they are up to, what they want to see today, what they want to do. If they want to be nasty, if they want to hit hard, and make you come back and do this all over again, they will do that. That's entirely up to them at this point to decide how this race will finish. And the white wizard goes down, so Zoph is on the dirt.
It's a good time to mention that these Fiends Revisited share one pool of skills and spells, so anything that they plus Warmech have, as Quad X works on Carry 2, anything that those 6 enemies have in the vanilla game is shuffled among them in the randomizer, so that there is still plenty of difficulty in those final bosses. You don't have them just be complete pushovers. So you've got 3 nukes that are out there, 4 nuclears, you've got Swirl, Tornado, a lot of stuff that can really wreck your day. Seafood Party Platter got to worry about Trance, but Edge gets away.
Yep, the little bit bigger platters than they are in the Sea Shrines, so you better have an all-you-can-eat ready to go here. But he's trying to get away from them without having to fight or eat, as the case may be. And this one is making him hang around.
3 out of 4 party members lost their turn on that first round, and that just costs you time more than anything.
It does. Tyerenex is only 2 floors behind. If Edgeworth keeps getting slowed down by these Seafood Party platters, and Tyerenex has a fairly clean run, that will make up a lot of time.
About to see what Kraken 2 has to offer. Does Edgeworth keep the knight in the lead? Does he move him back for the safety?
We're We're about to find out. Release the Kraken too!
He's got the defense, so as long as that gets off and you don't take a couple of big hits right away from Kraken, you'll be well defended. And that's a pretty soft-hitting Kraken.
Yeah, I think we're going to have no problem with this Kraken based on that damage. But we'll see if he has any nuclear, or anything nasty like that hiding in the pool as well. Invis charge being used again. Edge. Oh, Edge kills the Red Wizard for 573. That was a hit.
A little less armor and absorb on the Red Mage versus the Knight.
So we are seeing Lich
that's
on...
devastating.
Whoa!
Zap came out, took out 2 mages.
That could be game-changing. I think Edgeworth, or I should say Lara, has life, so he can bring the party members back. But that's going to take a lot of charges, a lot of magic charges that the Knight has. And if he has to do this again after the timeout fight, he might be a little more limited resources.
Chad asks if that was through a ribbon. I don't think it was. I think Edge is the character that had the ribbon because that's the one he kept protected from physical defense. In theory, it just didn't work out in practice.
And he also only had 2 ribbons, so 2 characters will not have a ribbon. And if you're correct, then Mono and Zoff would not have had the ribbons in that case. So you're probably right on that.
Yeah, there it is. The ribbon was on the 4th one. So he's got to change his gear around to get the best advantage he can. But with defense, you still go for it. This is just going to be really rough without having Power Gauntlet as well.
So Timeout opens up with Fire 3. He is man-moding this right now. So Lit 2, and he hits for 101. Lit 2 again. Lara hits for 2. That's not a lot at all. 3. I think there's some evasion going on here. Stop is in use.
Yeah, in another way, this also starts to open the door for Tyerenex. Not only does he have that extra ribbon, so Zap not as threatening, but there's also the fact with a full party member, he could make up a bunch of time doing these fights faster than Edge is able to.
Edge finally got a good hit for 111. He's going to rely on Cure 4 to keep himself alive, and hope that he doesn't... Let's hope that something like Crack doesn't hit through a ribbon, because if it does, he goes down, and that's a wipe.
A chat pointing out that Edge has the Bane Sword. I don't think he put it on Larry here for the Tiamat fight, but he will probably think to do that for Chaos. As damage poison comes out, doesn't do too much.
Blizzard is utilized. Now, I think, I could be wrong, it might be Tyerenex who had the life charges on the Knight, but I thought Edgeworth also picked up life on the Knight, so if he did not, then this is going to be a very challenging Chaos fight ahead, and like you said, Tyerenex having more party members and the ability to temper is going to give him a chance to win this race.
If Tyerenex gets there with 4 party members to Edgeworth's 1, then he's going to do this so much faster, it's ridiculous.
He should be able to get there with at least 2 or 3, because he has ribbons on 3 of his characters.
The worry here is Nuclear comes out in some form or fashion.
I haven't seen any of it yet, though, so
it's just chip damage right now.
That's right. Another Cure 4 for Lar. Good thing he picked that up on the Knight. So Lit 2 for 24 damage, Blizzard for 26, Lar hitting for another 3. Timeout is out damaging him right now, but Lar hits for 91. Crack doesn't work again because again the ribbon. There's 6 damage.
Almost the worst thing this Tia could do is just take so long that he drains all the Cure 4 charges. Edge really wants to have 2 of them for Chaos.
Edge might have reset if he thought he had time, but he rightly knows that Tyerenex is close. So he is trying to get through this floor without using without too much problems, and hopefully he still has those life charges like I think he does.
No, he would have brought his party up. I think life was at level 4, so not learnable by the Knight. But no, you don't reset out when you've got Bane Sword. When you're able to max your evade, you go in and you take your chances. And this eventually works out to Edgeworth's favor. It just might be quite a while to get to eventually.
Yeah, it will definitely be quite a while, it looks like. Fire 3 down to 140.
Comes out from Kraken. Bad news for Tyerenex. He really needs that red mage to survive.
Oh, this is going to come down to a battle of attrition right now.
big hit from that knight. Quad X might work here. Especially might work now.
Cure 4. There's our third Cure 4 for Lara. He needed that. He had 13 HP left. That would have killed him. Good thing he got in first or he was down.
Terminated. And Tyerenex is through with that red mage. He's going to be able to restore his...
They are on the same floor. This is game 3 between Edgeworth and Tyerenex. They are 1-1. This is going to decide who moves on and who does not. Tyerenex is now on the same floor as Edgeworth, who has been in this time at 2 fight for quite a while now. Man mode the entire time. He finally terminates the dragon. Tyerenex is about to begin the fight.
So it looks like the Red Wizard was not able to learn life, or Tyerenex never went back for it. However, just having the tempers is still a difference maker. He's going to be able to do this Tiamat fight tremendously faster than Edgeworth was able to do, and who knows what's waiting for us with this Chaos.
If Chaos has Cure 4, I don't see Edge getting this. We have the defense sword. He has used that 210 from Chaos. Oh! Cure 4 immediately has to be used.
Yeah, that was some crits, which are very unfortunate, but he also didn't get the evade all the way up yet. Now he's good, he's at the max evade, so Chaos is only hitting on a crit. The bad news is, we know that crit is a really big hit. But he might have an RNG loop here.
We might be okay now.
If he keeps Chaos on an RNG loop, where he's just attacking, he will win this eventually.
Now the question is, will Edgeworth have, or will Chaos have a Cure 4, but... right now, he's just attacking and missing over and over, so this is working for him right now. 253 damage, gotta hit it. He has to heal.
Not an RNG loop, that's what he was hoping for, but if Chaos is staying away from that spell list, that's really
Cure 4. I don't think he has any Cure 4s left.
No, he had to use them all in that Tiamat fight, so again, Tyerenex with that extra light warrior has a lot more resources available. He's going to the Bane strat.
He's going to the Bane strats. He knows it's this or nothing right now.
The thing is, an individual one is only 3 and 256, but I think this Chaos just has a lot of hit. So he's critting pretty often.
If he gets one more crit in, it's over. Right now he's missing a lot, which is really giving Edgeworth a chance to get some time back here. Tyerenex is working on the time at 2 fight right now. And Fire 3 coming out of timeout on his side. Edgeworth is using another heal potion. Slow healing, but he's up to 179. He can take a hit now.
If Tyerenex gets through and sees this same thing of the attacking Chaos, I have no doubt he's going to be able to clear it with the tempers.
I agree. He will get through it, no problem. He may... The question is, can he get here, and can he do it quicker than Edgeworth can? He would have to be successfully quicker, because it would have to be at least 2 or 3 minutes quicker in order to do it. And Edgeworth has gone to complete Bane strats. He's not even trying anything else right now. He's just going for Bane. We don't see any
strategy.
Cure 4.
You can... It's
I was gonna say, we don't see any Cure
once.
4 or anything yet. Yeah, we see no Cure 4 or anything yet, but Bane doesn't care about Cure 4. If you can get it to work once, you win.
Yeah, and when you're getting free turn after free turn to use it on, the math starts to be really on your side.
That's a wipe!
Down to the crit.
Oh!
The door is wide open for
painful.
Tyerenex, who just clears Tiamat 2. He's going on to Kraken. He's got the Red Wizard alive.
Now, will it be enough to get through the fight? We have yet to see.
Some worms jump up to block the way first. Now he's on to Chaos. If he sees just the attacking Chaos, I think he'll be alright. But he puts the Red Wizard up into the sacrificial spot.
So the Chaos fight is queued, and we are going to find out what happens here. 263 damage on B already. So
That was a
A,
very mild hit, actually.
yeah, but one more hit and B is down. So he's using Cure 4 on himself, which is good, but slayed immediately. So we're out of temper charges. It's just the knight at this point. Can he pull this off?
That's
This
still
was-
better on the tempers than Edge was able to get. So now if Tyerenex is just able to keep getting these hits off, and if he gets any better RNG on the crits, then it's his. Big hit.
I think A has the Cure 4 as well. He can pull it off with the Cure 4.
Also in a better position to potentially get an RNG loop. I don't think he has one yet.
Edgeworth is coming back down fast. He's already down 2 characters. He has to use life 2 charges here.
But he keeps getting these 100 damage, 100 damage, 100 damage. This is adding up.
It does. It will add up.
That temper, it was just one, but it was so different than what Edgeworth had.
There's 150. And Chaos missing again. He doesn't hit very well on these evasive parties today, it looks like. 87 for 4 hits. Chaos missing again. Chaos hit again for 33. Another miss.
Chaos has not been getting the crits on Tyerenex that he got on Edge. That's a big difference. But the damage output is so big. Tyerenex has advanced. Brackets have been busted. And Tyerenex is our winner. Taking down Edgeworth. Pulls the best of 3 off. That is GG worthy, folks.
And Edgeworth predictably forfeit 8 seconds later. I can't blame him after having gone through that Temple of Fiends revisit once. He did not want to potentially have to deal with that again. That was a really, really rough fight for him getting down to that Chaos fight. And even the timeout fight before that he managed to power through. But it took all of his resources, and he didn't have anything left for the Chaos fight. He just ran out of juice.
Well, let's cover some basics. Edgeworth, you did get to Chaos first. You took your chances there, but the final nail in the coffin really seemed to have come back all the way at Kraken when he one-shot your ribbon-armored red man. And, of course, his mic isn't working yet, but 1 minute he usually gets that fixed.
Yeah.
GG Tyerenex.
Thank you.
How fast is your heart rate going right now?
It's going.
Congratulations on winning as well.
Thank you. How'd that see? I don't really remember a lot of it. I just know the routing seemed to be all over the place.
It was quite the stretch to finally get to that floater. There was a lot of going here, there, and everywhere.
I may or may not have been very happy when we found the rupee where it was.
Oh yeah, it was Elephane, I think, if I remember right. And then we had to walk, to get the canoe.
And that was at Melbourne, so it worked out very nicely for the location as well.
So all that Chaos did was swing, so that was nice. But it took 500 hits to.
Yeah, that's what we saw on Edgeworth's side as well, although the crits eventually did in Edgeworth, who was resorting to Bane strats because he didn't get a temper off. He was man mode just the night at that.
Oh. Yeah, I only got 1 temper off, but I did get max evasion up before, and I guess I didn't see any crits in the 50 or so swings it took to kill him.
Well, Edgeworth also didn't get a lot of hits from Chaos. He managed to get a lot of misses as well, but he didn't get the temper because he didn't even have a Red Wizard available at the time that he got even to timeout. As you may have heard when he came in, and then before Edgeworth's mic actually, when we found out Edgeworth's mic wasn't on yet, as Trent mentioned, the ribbon armored red mage at the bottom of the party was slain by Kraken, and then Zap came out of Kraken to take out the 2 members that did not have ribbons. He was down to a knight and nothing more than a knight at the end of the Kraken fight with no life charges at all. It was the knight by himself man-moding it the rest of the way, and he couldn't finish it off.
I could see that. Was that death touch on Carrie too?
Yeah, it was.
There's Edge. Just the mic's a little soft tonight.
Yeah, I managed to get to Chaos with 1 red wizard standing.
Well, 1 made a difference. So let's ask this real fast, Tyerenex. You kept checking some chests there, notably the first floor of Mirage where you found the ribbon. Was it ribbon? Was it a look for Masa? What was on the wish list?
I usually like to just check that floor to grab some levels, and there's like 7 or 8 chests in there, so I usually just run in there, take all the fights, get some experience, and then house up and then go for the... I'd say I check that floor probably 90% of the time, unless I'm just an absolute go mug, like all the gear. Like I still only had like flame armor on my knight, so there was still a couple things I was looking.
Well, you have another bracket round to get ready for. What are your thoughts going on to that?
I don't know. This is crazy. I guess I just gotta win the whole thing now, I guess. I don't know. I'll try to do Edge proud and win the whole tournament.
I think he would be proud of you at that. Edge, have we got the mic working?
Yep.
Okay, just really soft. Well, just kind of freestyle here. Anything about this one you want to bring up here?
No, everything seemed pretty straightforward. It was interesting that the floater was in the what eventually led to the floater was one of the loose chests that was early on. After seeing 2 loose early, kind of figure there's no way that the third one is going to lead to the floater, but there we were. And I mean, yeah, that's really about it. Just Temple of Fiends did me in, and my streak of never landing an insta-kill on Chaos continues, so...
Well, one of these days. And Edge, I hope now that you have some more time on your hand, you're gonna be able to join me on commentary for one of these.
Yeah, I might have to give it some time, though. This one definitely hurt.
Fair enough. So, I guess with that, let's ask Tyerenex if you have any final thoughts.
No, GG. Thanks for putting on the show. We'll see what we can do next round. I think I have the winner of One Fine Day or St. Boss Jester, so we'll see how that.
Well, thank you for giving us a show to put on here. That was definitely a very climactic race, if I can refer to it that way. Going through Temple of Fiends Revisited, Edgeworth did get in there ahead, and you ended up pulling out the come from behind win with the Red Mage surviving on that Kraken fight, where made a difference. So we're looking forward to the next round, seeing how you do in the next round.
All right, thanks, guys.
Now, for those of you who want to see, who might be asking, hey, is there more of this coming on? I like this. I can give you an answer. Yes, there's a lot of this coming up. Tune in tomorrow. We got lots of it going on. We have a double header between Crystal MTG and Doogie MacGyver going on at 11 a.m. tomorrow on the Speed Gaming main channel. So make sure you tune in for that tomorrow. That is, I believe that's, now correct me if I'm wrong, is that the second and third run of that one, Trenton?
For Tristal, it'll be their best of 3 has game 2 tomorrow at 11, and then game 3 it'll be at 1.
Right, exactly. So potential 2 games, definitely 1 game at 11 a.m. tomorrow. So come check that out. And then at 1 p.m. there's also a race between Falconic and Shadow Walker. That will be tomorrow, and that is going to be a big matchup, so that's going to be a good one to check out. Channel not assigned yet. We might be waiting to see what happens with the Tristo and Doogie matchup before that is assigned. One Fine Day and St. Von Jester going at 5 p.m. tomorrow, also not assigned yet. And 7 p.m. there's a second race between, so that's also a doubleheader.
That's again match 3 if needed.
Yeah, potential doubleheader. And at 8 p.m. we have Will Cleosis, the Dragon Slayer, going against Lord Fizzlebeef. So that will be that's game number 2 of their best of 3 series. That's also happening. Finally, 9 p.m. tomorrow, Spellzap versus Minoshi 85. And I don't see a note on that one saying which game it is, but that game is at 9 p.m. That will wrap up the day
That's
tomorrow.
third and final.
Third and final, perfect. So we have a lot of action going on tomorrow. Make sure to come check out all of the races going on tomorrow. We have a lot of this, more than you can probably handle, more than I could probably handle, to be honest with you. So you're going to have a lot of entertainment tomorrow in this tournament. A lot of bracket matchups will be decided tomorrow. Come check them out with us. We'll be happy to share them with you. So any other thoughts from you, Trenton?
Just thanks to these runners, they gave us an incredibly tight race down to the end. There was a ton of drama. It was close throughout. Thank you to Speed Gaming for hosting us this evening, and each and every one of you who joined us for this part of your evening. Wish everybody a good night.
And just to remind you, make sure you follow the runners at Stream and Tyerenex are their Twitch channels, twitch.tv/Edgeworth and twitch.tv/Tyerenex. And you can also follow our tracker, who is Super Luigi 52. Make sure, of course, you follow my co-commentator, Trenton GL. I'm Cyclone GU. But more importantly, follow Speed Gaming and Speed Gaming 2 through 6. You can get all the racing, not just for this tournament, but for other tournaments as well. We have Link to the Past. We have Zelda 1. We have, I've seen Castlevania tournaments. There's some Magic the Gathering periodically. Also, a Kirby tournament going on right now. So all sorts of things you can check out here. Make sure to check them all out. Other than that, I think we're all set. So unless you have any final thoughts, Trenton, I want to wish you everyone a wonderful night. Thank you, chat, for hanging out with us. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have a good night.